Okay, I'm Jerry Shappy. I'm the commander here at Cantigny. Thank you. I wasn't ready for that. I'd like to introduce my wife. She's the president of the Ladies Auxiliary. And along with this award, there was to be a monetary amount, but the ladies have not yet had a chance to have their meeting to approve such things. So the monetary part of it will be forthcoming. And I have Jim Clausen here, my trusty right-hand man. Have you got the awards there? Before I go any further, I cannot forget that we have the mayor out in the audience. Thank you for showing up tonight, sir. Okay, the first one that I have here is for Officer Aaron Bandy, the Joliet Police Department. All of these are going to read the same, so it says, in grateful recognition of your unyieldingly adherence to the highest ideals of law enforcement in maintaining, preserving, and protecting the lawful rights of all citizens. It's signed by myself and by James Clausen, who is our adjutant. So, Mr. Bandy? He's coming down with him. Let me say a few words.
Thank you. First of all, on behalf of the entire Joliet Police Department, I'd like to thank the VFW Cantigny Post 367, along with the Women's Auxiliary, for the opportunity to be here tonight. Each of you hold this ceremony each year, recognizing all the public safety, both fire and police, in this community, and we greatly appreciate that. As you know, the policing profession has been highly criticized this past year. Officer-involved use of force incidents have been in the mainstream media, and it's made many officers question why they even pursue this profession. But it's events like this, the recognition from the VFW and the public, that really serves as inspiration for us to move forward and continue to do this job. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. For most of us, being a police officer is a calling. I'm proud to say that we have some of the most driven, hardest working police officers in the state on the Joliet Police Department. And tonight we're here to recognize the officer that stood out this past year, Officer Aaron Bandy. The Joliet Police Department Awards Committee recently reviewed a number of different recommendations for recognition by your post, and we are honored to present to you Officer Bandy. Officer Bandy's been a Joliet police officer since July 2004. During 2014, Officer Bandy served as an undercover officer in the Joliet Narcotics Unit. He conducted 34 undercover narcotics transactions and 10 search warrants. His cases resulted in the seizure of more than $5,000 in currency, 11.8 grams of crack cocaine, 176 grams of powdered cocaine, 29,591 grams of cannabis, which is just over 65 pounds, 36 grams of heroin, 12 ecstasy pills, over 1,000 prescription narcotic pills, 6 handguns, and 9 vehicles. But in addition to that, in addition to all his drug work that he did throughout this past year, Officer Bandy's use of confidential sources assisted in the arrest of 4 homicide suspects from 2014. He assisted in debriefing an informant who provided the location of 2 suspects who were responsible for a homicide up in Aurora as they were fleeing the state. He also played a key role in locating information related to the associates of a man who was wanted for murdering a female at 363 North Broadway. He, along with other Joliet Narcotics Unit officers, many who are in the room tonight, responded to 4 separate addresses, interviewed subjects, and led them to the suspect, who was found in the woods in the 1400 block of East Washington Street hiding. Officer Bandy obtained critical information from a confidential source that led to the arrest of another subject wanted for a murder that occurred in Will County's jurisdiction. That information led to 2 search warrants being executed and a subsequent arrest of the subject on a traffic stop out on I-80. Officer Bandy's efforts in fighting street-level narcotic sales, his participation in the department's Special Operations Squad, and his investigative work overall has undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented many other crimes from occurring in the Joliet area. He's personally responsible for improving the quality of life in our city and is most deserving of this award. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, for the second time, the recipient of the VFW Cantigny Post Award, Officer Aaron Bandy.
I just want to say thanks to the VFW and all the stuff Chief Benton just talked about was stuff that wasn't done by one person. It was always a team effort, and that's the great thing about Joliet is everybody works together to get the job done. And me and Jeff are tied now for the most awards. So, Jeff German, thank you.
The next one I have is Deputy David Borowski from the Will County Sheriff's Police. Sheriff?
Sorry, Brian. I got to lift this microphone up a little bit. I, too, would like to thank the Cantigny Post for the opportunity to be here tonight to introduce our Deputy of the Year. Also, the Ladies Auxiliary as well. Thank you very much, and everybody that's here. Just without going into what Brian said, Chief Benton, I agree with a few things he said about our profession in the last year or two really taking a hit, and just the dedication of these officers each and every day to go out and do what they do, knowing that everybody's watching. Everybody's watching what we do nowadays. Really, really speaks volumes of the officers that not only Chief Benton has, that I have too at the Will County Sheriff's Department. So thank you here for having us here tonight. Deputy Dobrowski is a 25-year veteran of the Will County Sheriff's Office. He was assigned an investigation division from 2001 to 2005, and then returned to the division in 2009. He's currently there now. As a detective, along with maintaining his normal caseload, Deputy Dobrowski continuously assists his fellow detectives and require detailed phone records, cell tower information, and social media investigations. Our society's reliance on cell phones and social media make Deputy Dobrowski's responsibility invaluable, and his expertise as well. Deputy Dobrowski has never refused to assist another detective, deputy, or outside agency when it comes to these type of cases, regardless of how seemingly insurmountable or trivial the request may be. As a highly seasoned and experienced detective, along with his high morale standards, Deputy Dobrowski's counsel is often sought out by the younger and inexperienced detectives. He displays an excellent example to them, setting the bar high, which reflects the honor and integrity is the norm for the investigations division. With his work ethics, Deputy Dobrowski has also built a solid reputation with the Will County State's Attorney's Office, with several defense attorneys and the judiciary system, paving the way for other detectives when working collectively within the arena. Currently, Deputy Dobrowski is a member of the Special Operations Group and holds the position of negotiator team leader. In this capacity, he continues to modernize the team's technology, training, and tactics. He tirelessly researches new and practical equipment, exposes his fellow team members to new training, and has reached out to members of federal law enforcement agencies who frequently train with the negotiating team. Much of the work is completed on Deputy Dobrowski's personal time. It is fair to say that Deputy Dobrowski is one of the finest members of the Investigations Division and the SOG Negotiator Team, which are the two units that handle the gravest and most serious challenges on our department. Deputy Dobrowski and myself were hired at the Will County Sheriff's Department about the same time. We grew up together on the department. I consider him a co-worker, and most importantly, I consider him a friend. So that being said, it gives me great pleasure to honor Deputy Dobrowski as this year's 2014 Deputy of the Year.
process of being considered for an honor like this, it kind of boggles the mind sometimes. You try to do the best you can with your fellow officers and make sure that they have the resources and the training and the ability to complete their jobs successfully. And you can take great pride in that often, to see everybody else succeed. And I thought about what should be said here today, and I agree that the support given from non-police personnel makes the job worth it. So thank you.
And last but not least, I have a certificate here for the ambulance engine and what's the other? For Engine Company 3. Chief?
First off, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. What a great turnout. It says a lot for our award recipients. Thanks a lot. I know that means a lot to everybody. I want to start off by thanking the VFW on behalf of the members of the Joliet Fire Department. What a great event you guys have every year for us. I want to thank the Women's Auxiliary. They do a great job too. Also want to thank the men and women of the armed forces serving throughout the globe, protecting our freedoms today. Tonight we're here to recognize an ambulance call that happened. I want to start off by saying that the members of the Joliet Fire Department, they respond to about 20,000 calls per year. About 16,500 of those are ambulance calls. And on many of these ambulance calls, we are assisted by members of the Joliet Police Department. They're there to help us out, control traffic, and that was something that happened at this scene. So let me read the call that was the award recipient tonight. It happened back in May 12th of 2014. It was submitted by our EMS coordinator, Lieutenant Floyd Woods. So the call was for a motor vehicle versus pedestrian. It occurred on South Chicago Street at Pheasant Run. There's some apartments over in that area. It occurred right out there in that vicinity. So a brief description of the call. The initial call was for a 4-year-old that was hit by a semi-truck. Upon our crews getting en route, the information was changed to a 14-year-old that was struck by an SUV at a high rate of speed. Upon our crew's arrival, the scene was very chaotic. The victim and crew were surrounded by screaming family members and friends. Street lights in that area on 53 were minimal. The light to work with was reduced to ambient light and light from vehicles. JPD arrived to help with crowd control and traffic control. The patient was found lying face up in the center of the ditch, partially submerged in water, unconscious but with a faint pulse and barely breathing. The crew assessed, quickly performed C-spine and backboard, and loaded the patient into the back of the ambulance. It was noted that the patient had no noticeable deformities. However, her pupils were blown, which indicates severe brain injury. Decision was made to load the patient and move 1 block north of the scene to ensure quality patient care and try to get away from the chaotic scene that had developed in that area. The patient was intubated, 2 wide-bore IVs were started, and full ALS protocols were initiated. The quick response by the men of Company 3 is illustrated by the documented response times. So we went en route at 20:32, so just after 8:30. We arrived on the scene at 20:33. The patient was loaded at 20:36 and en route to St. Joe's Medical Center at 20:42, and we arrived at St. Joe's at 20:50. So from the start of the call when Company 3 arrived on the scene until the patient arrived at the hospital was right around 17 minutes. So considering the remote area this call occurred at and the distance traveled, complex interventions that were performed, this was an exemplary call. And I want to say that once the patient arrived at St. Joe's, she was unconscious with a pulse and breathing, and the decision was to airlift her to Loyola for further care. So she was airlifted to Loyola. And our crew members on that call that evening were Lieutenant Chuck Gurl, apparatus operator Tony Muir, he's not here tonight, firefighter paramedic B.J. Widlowski, And then those guys were on the engine, and then the 2 individuals on the ambulance that day were apparatus operator, paramedic Joe Wadlowski, and firefighter paramedic Christian Conroy. So they're all here today, and if you guys would come up and...
Give this to you since there's so many of them.
say something?
Sure.
Believe it or not, it's got to go higher. I know the guys at the fire department are going to find this hard to believe, but I'm going to try to keep this short. Thank you to the VFW and the Ladies Auxiliary for having us here tonight, and thank all of you for being here in attendance tonight, too. I consider it my privilege to come to work every day with these 4 men. Tony Mira is not here tonight. He is the apparatus operator, the fellow who drives our engine. But it's my privilege to come to work every day, every third day, with these 3 men on my left over here. They display everyday professionalism, kindness, compassion that I would hope you would all expect from the members of the Joliet Fire Department. And the last thing I want to say is to the families of these men, you should be proud of the job they do and the way they represent you and your families every third day, because they truly represent you well, and they do a fantastic job for the people of this city. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that Lieutenant Girl and apparatus operator Tony Mira are 2-time winners, so this is their 2nd time that they've won this award. So congratulations.
That's all I have in the way of awards and whatever. If you'd like to, we're going to have some cupcakes and cookies. I know the kids out there will like them. So, dear, if you would, go back there and get them ready. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, that's all I have. Enjoy yourself. You can step back here to the back and at the bar and have a drink.